So Michael in the Facebook group said, my daughter needs to replace her car but doesn't have enough money. We have the means to help, and everything I read and listen to say that the best way is to set up a formal loan with her. Has anyone done this, and how did you come up with the paperwork? I've also heard this helps protect them from a partner claiming half if we just give her the money. Now, I'm assuming the daughter is potentially early 20s, late teens. I'm also assuming, well, I'm not assuming.
Non-married.
I know. Well, he said that she doesn't have a partner at the moment.
Oh, right. Okay.
And he also said about 10K.
Yep.
So you've got 3 daughters.
Yeah, I do.
When it comes to cars, for example, how are you negotiating this, or how are you negotiating life as a dad with daughters, number one, but more so if one of the children needs something like a car when they're 18, how are you doing it?
Yeah, so we've got 13, 11 and 10, so they're not there yet. I don't know. I'm, to be honest, a big believer in our kids doing hard things. And this is my view today, I don't know if when my daughters are in that situation where they need these things and we do have the means, will I help them? But I'm a big believer in just going like, how do we teach our kids to plan ahead? Like, we know that we're going to have to replace a car in the future. So start saving a little bit today to plan ahead for when that happens. Or make them catch the train for a little bit. And it depends on where we live and you know, what is the reality. Because if it's me driving the kids to work and then to school and uni and all that stuff, then it's a bigger impact. So I'm a little bit more harsh in going, I think in Australia, we're all really spoiled and we've all got so many choices. Artificially constraining ourselves to get through it is something that I'm keen on doing. You
evil dad.
Exactly, yeah.
But also you're a tight ass.
Yeah, but I do think that I do think a lot about how do I teach my daughters to live in the world and on their own terms. So even if I had the means and the desires, and you know, I don't actually have a concern doing that. It's not being a tight ass not doing it, but I just think about what are we teaching them? Because if they can't save for a car, how are they going to save for a house?
Yes. However, and full disclosure, I don't have any children that I know of.
Yes.
I just love that comical line in there.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, just from my position behind the desk when I've dealt with clients over the years who have kids in this situation, because I said to Michael in the Facebook group, it's like, you're allowed to do nice things.
Yes.
And so my whole kind of vibe with this question is Michael's daughter, she could be studying full-time at uni. She could be catching the train to and from uni.
Yeah.
She could be working a part-time job and just totally grinding relative to the situation.
Yes.
And if the daughter doesn't have afterpay bills, if the daughter is managing their money,
yes,
if the daughter is contributing, if the daughter lives at home and is a good household citizen and all that, if Michael has 10 grand that he wants to give to his daughter because he loves her and he can see that she's putting the hustle in, she's got her head screwed on, I want to do this for you.
Yes.
Here is a car. It's the difference between, Dad, give me a car, I'm a spoiled brat.
Exactly.
I live loose and all that.
And it's around the intention of the daughter.
Yes.
Yeah, what is the intention of the daughter is what I would think a lot about. And am I creating an artificial comfort zone for my kids by, and I guess it's more, if they came to me and said, Dad, can I have a car? And I'd be like, well, I've got the money, I can. I would probably question, well, go and earn the money and buy your own car.
I'm a big fan.
But if it was that situation where they were working hard and they didn't have an expectation of a car and I had the finances and I wanted to bless them, then, yeah, I would consider buying the car.
Yeah, and also because every situation is different.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of, as they are in their teens, and who knows, this could be their second car. They may have saved that first $8,000 one and it crapped itself and it's not worth putting $2,000 in.
Yes.
So there's that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the strategy with teens and kids. If you save up for a car when you are old enough to get one, we will match what you save up to $5,000 or $10,000. So save 5, here's another 5, go buy a 10 grand car.
Yeah.
But I think it's that whole, are they a spoilt brat to start with? Are they contributed to the house? Are they working or studying? And you have the money.
Yes, and that's right. And we live comfortably in our household. Our kids, we're not extravagant, but we live comfortably. And so I just think about how do we make sure we just are empowering our girls to understand. And one thing that we've actually changed at the moment is we give them pocket money on a regular basis, and they will buy everything on their own. So they're starting to go, how do I save for this? And they can go, our middle went to La Vista, which is like a kid's jewelry store.
Isn't it La Visa?
Oh, La Visa. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Gosh, Phil, get it together.
I just saw the jewelry. We just did a fashion show at home, but and bought like 7 items, and it was like, great, they're awesome. That's something that you're passionate about. But if you want to go to the movies or something, you're going to run out of money. So it's helping them exercise that muscle of saving and being aware of their money. Because in the past it was like, Mum, can I just have money for this? And it's like, well, no, we have to teach them that it's, we've got to be responsible. So again, back to Michael's point, it really depends on the attitude and the atmosphere and the environment that you're creating. That's the thing I think about. But in terms of like how to actually structure it, I mean, you can talk to...
Yeah, so I think I see this as they're a good kid, sure, help him out, give him 10 grand for a car because he's got the means and all that.
Let's
assume that.
Yeah, easy.
So in terms of the loan, and this is why I said this goes against online chatter and advice, right? So let's do another scenario. Just for a moment, we'll park the $10,000 car. If you had a daughter and you had significant wealth, not you, but you, the listener.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
If you had a child, you had significant wealth, they weren't married, they weren't in a relationship at all, and you were like, hey, we want to help you get into a first home. Here is $100,000. Here is $300,000, but we're going to structure that as a loan. So a couple of reasons there. If it is a loan, that loan has a formal document. It's in place. So if there is a relationship that breaks down and the assets get split, or the property assets, so in family law court and all that, they call it property assets, which could be a house, could be shares, could be cars, could be cash. The property assets get split. Before the split, the loan gets paid back.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is some protection there. So what you need to realize with the loans to children, it can impact a couple of things. Number one, speak with your mortgage broker, because depending on the bank or lender, they may not take that into consideration if it's a loan and not a gift. So it's here's a non-refundable gift. Awesome. Here is a loan. Well, you have to pay it back next week. It's a liability. So all of that stuff.
Yeah. So the daughter needs to talk to a broker or Michael?
The daughter or the son in this property situation. The child should talk with their broker or both of them together because they're involved because we want to protect this asset. Another way to protect the asset is obviously the parent to own the $300,000 or $100,000 portion of the house. Clearly an easy way to do that. So you need to speak to your broker on that. Another thing you need to realize when you are loaning money to children or anyone really, loan agreements are generally state-based and they need to have some type of activity or repayment, or there's a dollar being repaid within the 3 to 6 year window. I think Northern Territory is 3 years, the statutory thing. I think New South Wales, it might be 5 to, anyway, check. I'm just saying it's state-based. So what you need to do is you would 100% go to a lawyer and pay $1,500 to get a formal loan agreement drawn up if you are loaning money to your children for the protection from that wealth.
As in the example of several $100,000 for a house?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and this is where we're going to get to the $10,000 amount in a minute. Within that loan document, and that's why you need to talk to the broker. Will the bank accept a loan or do they need a gift?
Yep.
Then what you need to do is talk to the lawyer. Within the loan documents, you need different mechanisms that the loan has to be repaid if the house gets sold for whatever reason, if there is a relationship breakdown for whatever reason, if Mercury is in retrograde or whatever the thing is for any reason. So you put all these terms and conditions in. It's to be paid back within the state-based legislation. You may have to show that they've actually paid $1 or an amount during that yearly term. And then at the end of the term, there's a thing in the loan agreement that there's a new agreement that's created and all that stuff.
Yep.
Okay. So that's a really good way to protect the asset if your child goes into a relationship breakdown. And similarly, it would probably, I'll go out and on a limb, it would probably be the same way and be protected potentially if the child racked up a heap of debt, went bankrupt, but they did have some assets and all that. So I guess that's a very outlier thing. So there could be protections there. But when it comes back to a $10,000 loan for a car,
am I spending $1,500
you're not.
on a legal agreement? Yeah,
you're not. You can, but you're not.
Yeah. Most aren't doing it for the $300,000 gift. So if they're not doing that, they're not doing it for $10,000.
But with the car thing, we know it's in the daughter's name, so it's hers. If you wanted to, you could keep it in your name and let them have it and drive it around forevermore. Amen.
Yeah.
So, but if the daughter in Michael's situation got into a relationship, it did go sour, the partner's coming after half the car because it's his and they've been living together for 18 months and it's a de facto relationship and half that car is his and all that stuff. Okay, well, the car's probably not worth $10,000 then. It's probably worth $7,000, might be worth less.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? So I think that's a good way to frame the conversation. Your judgment, what's relative in your world. If it's a $300,000 gift and you're worth $10 billion, you're probably not worrying.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's a $10,000 gift, let's just help our child.
Yeah, and you know, depending on the whole situation, maybe it is just as simple as you buy a car, you put it in your name, and you let your daughter use it, and it's effectively there. Is there any downside risk on that?
It's just more some practical issues. If speeding camera, the fine's going to the car
and then
owner.
They've got to sign off to
if there is
reassign
an accident and something really terrible happens, might be a good thing that they're going to the registered owner's place, which is the parents anyway.
Yeah.
There could be some issues if the parents, this is an outlier, are on age pension at over age 67. The gifting limits would come in $30,000 over 5 years.
Yeah.
So you'd probably maybe buy a car and let them use it rather than give them money.
Yeah, that's the pro for owning it in your name. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think in this situation, and every situation that we talk about on this podcast, there's a million scenarios.
Yeah.
And we've just spent looking over at the time, best part of 15 minutes, or 10 to 15 minutes or whatever, talking about this one thing, which is awesome because we can get into the details and nerd out a bit.
And that's why it just goes to show how individualized all of these decisions are. Your relationship with your daughter has a massive impact.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing with this, my overarching comment. Michael is engaged with the podcast. I think it is you, Michael, that we've tried to do a Retire Right podcast episode with him because him and his wife, I think, have retired early.
Great.
They've built a business up or something like that, come into some money, life's good, they're in their 50s. So I'm thinking daughter 20s maybe-ish.
Yep.
So all this stuff, I just think, and he's engaged, he's like, hang on, I've heard on podcasts like this that need to be careful with loaning money and protection and all that, which is absolutely correct. But I don't know how this saying plays out, but it's something to do with the forest and the trees and something like that. It was like, let's just step back, small amount of money. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't, don't. Simple as that.
Yep.
And there could be some, if you own it and they're a nominated driver, could be some different things with the insurance as well. So one of those things. Can't wreck it.